The craziest tracker knife video you've ever seen. Maybe, maybe not. My goal is that it would be different. The tracker knife has been around for a long time. It's very popular, especially the Tom Brown tracker from Tops Knives, which is what we're going to be focusing on in this video. We're going to be talking about everything from transparency about this blade to controversies and all the fun stuff we like to debate about. Let's get started. Disclaimer right up front. If you've come here for a review of the Tom Brown tracker knife, this is probably not the video. There's 1,000 others out here on YouTube that you can check. People have been reviewing this knife since the end of Noah's flood. So there's plenty of reviews out there. You may get some review value out of this, but it's not going to be a quote-unquote review. First thing I want to talk about is the obsession with the Tops Tom Brown tracker knife. It's one of their #1 sellers, and I believe that is for a good reason. I think there's a lot of things that fuel the obsession that we need to be honest about. Did the movie The Hunted play an active part in solidifying the popularity of this blade? I believe 150% it did. I don't know about you. I love the movie The Hunted. With or without the tracker knife being included in it, it very much reminded me of a First Blood type of vibe. I just loved the movie The Hunted. Having already loved the movie and then having a knife presented in a movie that I'm a big fan of, it's going to cause me to pay attention to the knife, as it did with millions of other people. But this is what leads us into the fun, controversial aspect of the Tops Tom Brown tracker knife. Many people are right now typing, man, this knife's been around since 1981. This knife didn't get popular in 2003. Maybe, maybe not. I still believe that The Hunted sealed the deal on the popularity of this blade. But what about this controversy? When I first got into the tracker knife, I didn't really know so much about the controversy. I was just an innocent dude picking up a knife from one of his favorite movies. But when I did the first tracker video I ever did, talking about Tom Brown, man, I had dudes coming from the top rope, man, and dropping an elbow with regards to the original designer. A lot of people were yelling and screaming that it was Dave Beck. A lot of people, in fact, the great majority, was saying, no, man, this is Rob Russin. This is his design. And Utah Knife Works has released his version of the tracker. It's in D2 steel, and it looks amazing. That was my biggest issue all along. I was like, in spite of who designed it, who's going to put one out that's practical and affordable for people to get their hands on? And for the longest time, that was Tops. If I was to put all of my internet research into one box and tally up the great majority of the comments, most people were giving Rob the credit as being the original designer to the tracker knife. Let me be transparent with you about something. Daniel doesn't give a rip. I just like the design of the tracker knife. Whoever designed it, kudos. I'll let you guys fight over that in the comments. I've reviewed a Dave Beck tracker before. I did more of a showcase. Gorgeous. Rob's tracker with Utah Knife Works is affordable. It's $200. I think that's awesome. I just happen to like the Tops brand the best. Now let's look at the two that I have. Now, this is my Tom Brown 3 up top. This is my Tom Brown 2 on the bottom. There's 4 total sizes. The biggest one I used to have, but a friend offered to buy it from me, and I really didn't use it much. It was pretty much like carrying a hatchet around. It was like 2 pounds. It was massive. And I don't want the mini tracker. That's the smallest. It's just too small. I've got other blades that I can work with in that sphere of blade size, but these two are the sweet spot for me. Here's even more craziness and transparency. I have obsessed over going out and buying these for a long time. I just didn't do it. I decided to reach deep in the pockets the other day after a couple of nights of obsessing and staring at these things on different sites, and just decided to pick up these trackers. I bought 2 copies of the T3. You may say, why would you do something crazy like that, Daniel? Because the T3 is a sweet spot for me. I have a little bit of collector in me. I don't collect, but I just buy my favorite blades. It's just how I roll in life right now. I know I'm gonna beat one of these up, but I just want to have that fresh copy sitting around. Don't be shocked if I buy another T2. It's just how I am. At first, I didn't want to spend the money on these things, but I've tried all these budget trackers over the years. I'm just not satisfied with any of them. Not in the long run. I've got a couple that throw really well, such as the Warivo, but none of the budget trackers perform like these, feel like these, have the same aesthetic and build and design and overall feel. None of them. I'm not even here to talk about all the things we love and hate about the Tracker design. I just think it's cool no matter what it can and can't do. I think it's a cool looking blade shape. It can obviously do a lot of things in the bush. It's practically a knife hatchet hybrid, but it can also do some intricate things as well. People love it, some hate it. It is what it is, but I obsessed over it, so I own it. I used to get a lot of knives sent to me from Chinese manufacturers, but I don't get hardly any American knives sent to me other than the few that Tops did send me, and some of the K-bar knives I got from Tow Bars. I bought these with my own money just so I could come make this crazy video. I just believe this T3 is in the sweet spot as far as the size and everything about it. This one's a little bit more expensive because it's a steel upgrade, as this is a lot more corrosion resistant. This is a 154 cm stainless steel. This Tom Brown 2 is a 1095 steel that they typically use with the black traction coating. You just need to take care of it and keep oil on it every now and then. It's just not as corrosion resistant. These are Scout Carry blades across the back, and this is as heavy as I'd want to carry on my back. Here's my thoughts with regards to the Tracker. This is supposed to be a one-stop shop if you're out here working and doing many different tasks. In the movie The Hunted, I mean, it was presented as everything. It was presented as a survival knife. It was presented as a fighting knife. A lot of people don't understand its usage, but here's a quick rundown. You can use the curve here for gutting, skinning. You can use this surface for carving. You could set this up in baton with this end of the blade. You could do your more fine cutting here. You can use this for making notches. This is not like a saw to cut down trees with. This is like a notching saw. Now, as far as the combative element, my belief will always be anything with a point and an edge is a dangerous thing to another person. Some knives are built more for combat than others, but I still consider this dangerous. In all simplicity, people would have a hard time convincing me that this knife, this tool, would not be extremely formidable. And the thing about this model and the slightly smaller model is that you can wield it quickly, unlike the first one. I don't see how the Tracker could be any different from those who gravitate towards tactical tomahawks, combative style tomahawks. Because in a lot of ways, when you're holding something like this, you're holding both a knife and a hatchet type of weapon. People chop with Trackers. They love to get that grip on the end and chop with that larger end. It's a melee weapon, if anything, that could accompany another knife. A lot of people will stab their Tracker into a stump like this and drag their stick that they're carving across that curve right there. If I was going to do some splitting with a Tracker knife, I wouldn't want to use this curved end that I do the fine cutting with, but I've got this flat edge here that I can work with and do splitting and batoning with. Something else you see in the Hunted is some really cool knife throwing with the Tracker. These are actually some of my favorite kind of knives to throw. I can hammer grip, instinctively throw these things with a lot of power. And yes, I'm going to throw this $250 knife, but not without wrapping my scales in case I miss. It happens. People ask, Daniel, do you ever miss? Yep, it happens. And if this hits the ground, I don't want my scales getting busted. This is goon tape, by the way. Bullseye. A lot of generic Tracker saws on the back are not worth a crap, but these actually cut a really good notch. They dig in, as you can tell. They cut a good notch. Got you a knife, but you've also got you a little hatchet here to chop with. And you can see it digs in real nice. Let you see the carving dynamic here. Just get right in that corner, just like that. And it'll cut right through whatever you need. If you didn't want to have to do it like this, you could nail it down here and just cut in right there. It may be controversial, it may be cinematic, it may even be a gimmick, but it's a controversial cinematic gimmick of a knife that I really enjoy working with and throwing. When it comes to knife designs and controversy, here's what I have to say. It happens all the time. But if you got a good brand, your brand will speak for itself, whether it's Utah Knife Works, whether it's Beck, or whether it's Tops. And this brand speaks for itself. This is a great tracker knife and my favorite. I can come up with the best design in the world, but if I don't make it available and affordable and quality, who cares about the design? At the end of the day, people are either putting out knives that you can use and afford, or they're not. The name Tom Brown is not why I like this tracker. This tracker is the reason why I like the tracker. It's got a lot of attributes, it's fun to talk about, and it's got a great backstory. I'm sure a lot of people are going to have much to say, and I hope the comment section really does blow up with conversations and disagreements and intrigue and questions. All I know is at the end of the day, I got the T3 from Tops and I got the T2 from Tops, and I'm really stoked about it. What do you think about the tracker knife? Which ones do you own? What do you think about its dynamic? What's your favorite tracker? I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Take care.